It's like watching a story unfold from a distance. Every time we go somewhere new, it's a peaceful kind of energy.
You like it? And the best karate champion from
The mountains and the sky are in constant conversation. Glad for the break, but fully aware of the long road still ahead.
Birds, animals, people, and a bunch of lines and shapes stretching across miles of barren land. These are the famous Nasca Lines, made by the Nazca civilization over 2,000 years ago. Wow, I wasn't expecting this.
It's hard to believe we're actually leaving this place. It feels like we've barely scratched the surface.
I know what you mean. There's something about these ruins, like they're holding secrets we'll never fully understand. It's like we're leaving a part of ourselves behind.
You always say that about places we visit, but it's true here. There's something ancient, something alive still. Like these walls have memories of their own.
It's strange, isn't it? We come to see a piece of history, but instead, it feels like history is watching us. The train station was a cool blend of old and new. You'd see these ancient, weathered stone walls that gave a glimpse into the past, right next to newer signs and seating for the endless wave of travelers coming through. And there were little touches that made this place feel truly unique, like small shrines hidden in corners, with flowers and candles left by locals. The smoky scent of a nearby vendor grilling empanadas added to the vibe, mixing local flavor with the buzz of tourism. It was a spot where tradition met the present, and it was magical.
We wove through the crowd, looking for a quiet spot to chill and wait for our train. All around us were travelers, backpacks strapped on, faces sunburned and tired from days on the trails. They looked worn out, but had this shared excitement in their eyes. Machu Picchu seemed to bring together people from every corner of the world, and being part of that crowd made us feel connected to something bigger than just a place.
I'm not sure I'm up for another hike back. My legs are still feeling every step of the trek here.
I couldn't agree more. The train sounds like the perfect way to end this part of our adventure. Ready for the train?
Yay, ready, let's go make more memories.
Besides, we'll get to sit back and actually enjoy the view this time. No more worrying about every step or slipping on a rock.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. It'll give us a chance to reflect on everything we've seen so far. The journey feels different when you're not the one making every step happen. It's like watching a story unfold from a distance.
And maybe my legs will finally forgive me for all that climbing.
Haha, mine too. I think they've had enough adventures for the week, but I wouldn't trade that trek for anything.
We do the vlog, yeah.
Across from us sat our travel companions for the journey. A warm, friendly Chilean family also heading back to Cusco after their own adventure to Machu Picchu. We exchanged polite smiles, and soon a conversation bloomed. They introduced themselves as a family of 4. A mother, a father, their 13-year-old daughter, and a little boy of about 4 who clung to his dad with sleepy eyes. The daughter, who proudly mentioned she was a karate champion, spoke a bit of English and quickly became our bridge of communication. She shared stories of their travels, her karate tournaments, and her younger brother's fascination with trains. Her parents added their own stories, telling us about their hometown in Chile and their love of family adventures. They had a warmth and kindness that made it feel as though we'd known them much longer than just a few minutes. The views, the challenge, the feeling of standing there at the top of the mountain, it was all worth it.
Absolutely, but it's also nice to know we have this comfortable option now. It feels like the perfect ending, like the mountain is saying, "You've earned your rest, take it."
There's a reverence here that's hard to explain. It feels like they're not just praying, they're conversing with the land. It's almost like they can hear the mountains speaking back. Do you think they feel the same connection we do? I don't know if we could ever feel it in the same way. We're visitors, strangers. They're part of this land. It's in their blood. But standing here, watching them, I feel something. Like the earth is humming beneath my feet.
I feel it too. There's a weight here, but it's not heavy, it's grounding, like the mountain is pulling us closer, trying to keep us here.
Maybe we're not supposed to leave. Maybe the mountain has other plans.
Or maybe we'll just carry this place with us wherever we go, a little piece of its spirit tucked away inside us.
Do you think we'll ever come back here?
I hope so, but even if we don't, I feel like this place will stay with us. We'll carry it wherever we go. Do you ever feel that way about other places we've been?
Some more than others. This place, definitely. The air feels different here, doesn't it? Like every breath is a reminder of how much history these mountains have seen. Sometimes I wonder if we're even worthy of witnessing it.
Yeah, it makes you feel small, in a good way. Like all the little problems we stress over don't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly. Maybe that's why I don't want to leave. Being here, it's easy to forget about all the chaos back home.
It's peaceful, isn't it? I'll miss this quiet. There's a different kind of silence in these mountains. It's full, not empty.
It's strange, isn't it? We come to see a piece of history, but instead, it feels like history is watching us. Maybe we're not supposed to leave. Maybe the mountain has other plans.
Or maybe we'll just carry this place with us wherever we go. A little piece of its spirit tucked away inside us.
Do you think we'll ever come back here?
I hope so. But even if we don't, I feel like this place will stay with us. We'll carry it wherever we go. Do you ever feel that way about other places we've been?
Some more than others. This place, definitely. The air feels different here, doesn't it? Like every breath is a reminder of how much history these mountains have seen. Sometimes I wonder if we're even worthy of witnessing it.
Yeah. It makes you feel small, in a good way.
Exactly. Maybe that's why I don't want to leave. Being here, it's easy to forget about all the chaos back home.
It's peaceful, isn't it? I'll miss this quiet. There's a different kind of silence in these mountains. It's full, not empty.
It's like the silence has stories to tell, if you listen close enough. I wish we had more time to listen.
We'll have to come back. Maybe one day we'll be the ones telling stories about this place.
I'd like that. It's so quiet now, isn't it? Almost as if the mountain itself is saying goodbye.
Yeah, I'm glad we decided to walk back. It gives us time to really soak it all in. I'll miss this. A different kind of peace here. It's the kind that follows you around, seeps into your bones.
I was just thinking that. It's hard to explain, but it feels like the mountain is alive. Like it's watching us leave, wondering if we'll return.
I think it knows we'll be back. People don't just forget places like this. It has a way of calling you back, doesn't it?
I feel that. It's like a soft pull. Even if we don't realize it, I think this place will always be tugging at our hearts, trying to bring us back.
Do you think the people here feel that too? The ones who live here, the ones who stay? I wonder if they ever feel like they need to leave, or if the mountain's pull is too strong for them to go anywhere else.
I think it's different for them. They don't feel the pull the way we do because they're already part of this place. It's not something external calling to them. It's in their blood. For us, it's like we're visitors trying to connect with something so much bigger than ourselves.
Maybe that's why it feels so profound. We're outsiders, and yet we're allowed to experience this, even if just for a moment. It's humbling, really.
I guess that's what travel is in a way. We're always outsiders, always just passing through. But every now and then, we find a place that feels like home, even if it's not where we're from.
It's funny. I feel like I'll miss the smell of this place too. The coffee, the fresh bread, even the mountain air.
It's true. Every little thing here feels so unique, like it belongs to this exact moment. It's hard to imagine ever finding a place that smells like this again. And yet, I think that's why it feels so precious. It's fleeting, like everything else.
I think that's what makes travel special. Every place leaves its own little mark on you. You don't realize it at first, but then weeks or months later, something will remind you of it. A smell, a taste, a sound, and suddenly you're right back here.
That's why I don't think we ever really leave the places we visit. They stay with us in those little memories.
Yeah. Even when we're back home, I think this place will come back to us in unexpected ways. Maybe when we're drinking coffee on a cold morning, or walking through a quiet street, we'll remember this moment.
That's what makes leaving so hard, isn't it? You know you're walking away from something you'll never fully get back. You can't recreate this exact moment, no matter how much you try.
But maybe that's the beauty of it. It's temporary, but that's what makes it meaningful. If we stayed here forever, would we appreciate it as much?
Maybe not. Maybe the act of leaving is what gives this place its magic. I'm going to hold on to these tickets forever. They're not just tickets, they're reminders of everything we felt here.
You think the next place will feel like this? Or is this kind of connection something you only find once in a lifetime?
I think every place has its own magic. It's not about finding the same feeling. It's about discovering something new, something different, but equally special.
That's a good way to look at it. I guess that's what keeps us moving, isn't it? The idea that there's always more to discover, more to feel.
Yeah, the world is too big, too full of wonder to ever stop exploring.
Same here. Cusco is waiting, but for now, I just want to enjoy the ride.
You can already feel the difference, can't you? The train is smoother, quieter. It's like the world outside is moving slower now, giving us time to take it all in.
Yeah, I love watching the scenery change bit by bit. The mountains, the rivers, the villages, it all feels like it's telling a story.
Do you ever wonder what life is like for the people who live out here? The ones we see in the villages, tending to their crops, going about their day-to-day lives?
All the time. I think that's one of the most fascinating parts of traveling, imagining what it's like to live in the places we visit. We're just passing through, but for them, this is home. I wonder if they see the same beauty we do, or if it's just normal to them.
Yeah, I guess when you live somewhere long enough, it becomes part of the background. But I hope they still appreciate it, even if it's just in little ways.
I hope so too. I like to think that places like this, with their natural beauty and history, have a way of keeping people grounded, reminding them of how special it is to be here.
Look at those peaks. It's like the clouds are reaching down, trying to touch them.
Yeah, the way the mist clings to the rocks, it's like the mountains and the sky are in constant conversation. It's so different from the mountains back home. There's a wildness here, something ancient and untamed.
It makes you feel so small, doesn't it? But in a good way. Like all the things we worry about don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Out here, it's just nature doing its thing, like it has for thousands of years.
I was thinking the same thing. I love that feeling. The way travel can make you realize how vast and complex the world is. It puts everything into perspective.
And the best part is, it's not just about seeing new places, it's about understanding that there's always more to learn, more to experience. Every place changes you in some way, even if you don't realize it right away.
I've noticed that about you. Every time we come back from one of these trips, you're a little different, maybe more thoughtful, more in tune with yourself. I like that.
That's the best part of traveling together. We get to watch each other grow. I feel the same way about you. Every time we go somewhere new, I see a new side of you.
Ha ha ha. Well, I like to think these places bring out the best in me. Or maybe it's just being with you in places like this.
The scenery's changing again. It's like the mountains are giving way to something softer, gentler.
Yeah, it's like we're moving out of the wild and into something more settled. I wonder what life is like in those little villages. They seem so isolated, but at the same time, there's probably a sense of community that we don't get in bigger cities.
I always wonder about that too. What it's like to live somewhere so far removed from everything. I bet there's a kind of peace that comes with it, but also challenges we can't even imagine.
It makes me think about what we value in life, you know? We're so used to convenience, to everything being just a click or a drive away. But here they have to work for everything. It's a different kind of life, but I bet it's fulfilling in its own way.
Definitely. I think there's something really beautiful about that, about living simply, close to the land. It must give you a sense of purpose, being so connected to the things that sustain you.
Maybe one day we'll try it, just for a while. Living somewhere like this, away from the noise and distractions. What do you think?
That sounds like an adventure of its own. I don't know if we could handle it long term, but it would be interesting to try. I'd love to see how it changes us.
Who knows? Maybe we'll end up loving it so much we won't want to go back.
After a while, we had to switch from the train to a bus. That's just how the route goes from Machu Picchu to Cusco. We chatted and took in the beautiful landscape around us. But when it was time to part, it felt unexpectedly hard, signaling the end of our time with the family, savoring every moment together. Promising to keep in touch and maybe meet again someday. As the train slowed near a small town, we exchanged contact information. The daughter and her little brother waved. The father gave us a warm handshake, and the mother pulled us into a gentle hug and disappeared into the crowd. Their smiles lighting up their faces as they stepped off the train. Saying goodbye was never easy. As the train carried us closer to Cusco, but I knew this was just one of many connections we'd make along the way.
Okay. Let's go, let's go. Ah, you got the coffee. Oh, yeah. You want tea? Sri Lanka tea. You like Sri Lanka tea? You like it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The youngest karate champion from Chile. And the best karate champion from Chile. And the best papa. Canela. 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 Cinema. Yeah. You want cinnamon tea? She likes that hair. It's a traditional dress. Oh yeah. Yan again. Oh, oops.
Settling back into my seat, I felt a bittersweet mix of emotions, lingering in the moments we had shared, adding something special to our journey in a way I hadn't expected. A part of me stayed with that family. Back to reality, I guess. But it doesn't feel like the end, does it? More like a new beginning.
Yeah, I feel that too. Coming back to Cusco doesn't feel like the end of the journey. It's like we're in the middle of something bigger. Maybe that's what travel does. It keeps you moving, keeps you curious.
It's true. Every time we visit a new place, it opens up more questions, more possibilities. It makes you want to keep exploring, to see what else is out there.
And even though we're leaving this place, I feel like it's going to stay with us for a long time. Maybe forever.
Yeah, I think so too. It's strange how different this city feels now, after everything we've seen. Cusco was beautiful before, but now it feels deeper, somehow.
I know what you mean. It's like we've peeled back a layer of the city. After being out in the mountains, seeing those ruins, it makes this place feel more connected to everything around it.
And yet, it feels like we're seeing it with new eyes. Like everything we experienced out there has changed the way we see this place. I'm excited to see how the landscape changes as we head down toward the coast. It's like we're crossing from one world into another.
That's the beauty of Peru, isn't it? One minute you're in the mountains, the next you're by the sea. It's such a diverse country, and we've only seen a fraction of it.
And I think that's true for most places we visit. There's always more to explore, more to discover. That's why I love traveling. You never really see the whole picture. You just get glimpses of it.
Yeah, and every glimpse is worth it.
Look at those cliffs. It's like the earth just drops away. It's beautiful, but kind of terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, it's wild. You don't really get landscapes like this back home. There's a rawness to it, like the land is still forming, still shaping itself.
I love that about South America. Everything feels so alive here. Like the land itself is part of the story. It's not just the backdrop, it's a character in its own right.
Yeah, you're right. The landscapes here aren't just something to look at. They shape the way people live, the way they build their lives. It's humbling, isn't it?
It really is. And it makes me grateful to be able to see it, to be part of it. Even if just for a little while. Even if just for a little while. It feels good to stretch. I didn't realize how long we'd been sitting until I got off the bus.
Yeah, and look at that view. Even in the middle of a long bus ride, we get to see something incredible. Peru really knows how to keep surprising us.
This was a good idea. I know it's a long ride, but it's giving us a chance to see parts of the country we wouldn't otherwise.
It's all part of the experience, and who knows? Maybe this bus ride will be one of the highlights of the trip, just because it's so different from what we usually do.
Maybe. There's something about being on the road like this that makes you feel connected to everything around you. It's like you're part of the landscape. Part of the journey itself. Thanks for doing this with me. I know it's not always easy, but I wouldn't want to experience any of this without you.
It's amazing, isn't it? How travel changes your perspective on things. We're the same people who walked through these streets a few days ago, but it feels like we've grown somehow.
That's the magic of it, I think.
The first travel agency we visited was a small, simple place with a wooden sign above the door and posters of far-off places covering the windows. Inside, brochures lined the walls, promoting trips to Machu Picchu, the Amazon, and Peru's beautiful coastline. A young woman greeted us with a warm smile, her eyes lighting up with curiosity. She quickly typed on her computer, looking for options. "There are flights from Lima," she said cheerfully, "but they're a bit pricey right now." When she showed us the prices, our excitement dimmed a little. It was more than we'd expected. A reminder that last-minute plans sometimes came with a cost. Thanking her, we moved on to explore other options. The next agency was just around the corner, with a more modern look and a sleek counter. A middle-aged man with glasses greeted us, his manner friendly but professional. He too checked for flights, typing quickly as he searched for the best route.
After visiting a few more agencies, it became clear that a direct flight to Lima was out of our budget. Each time we asked, prices seemed to climb and flights became fewer. The excitement of travel slowly shifted to a rising uncertainty. I glanced at my husband, his expression reflecting my own concerns. We both realized we'd have to consider another plan. We took a moment to think it over. "What if we take a bus back to Lima?" he suggested. The idea didn't thrill me. After all, we'd just spent hours on a train, and the thought of a long bus ride wasn't exactly inviting. But as we weighed the pros and cons, it started to make sense. A bus would be much cheaper, and once we reached Lima, we'd have more flexibility to find affordable flights. This town has its own charm, doesn't it? I love how every corner has something colorful and unique. The buildings, the flowers, even the people. Everything feels alive here.
It's vibrant in a way that feels effortless. Nothing is trying too hard, but it all just works. It's like the town has its own rhythm, a slow, steady beat that everyone follows.
I like that. It's a peaceful kind of energy, not rushed like back home. It feels like time moves differently here. Maybe that's why I'm not in a hurry to leave.
Yeah, I get that. It's like the mountain and the town are in sync, both of them telling you to slow down. Take your time. We don't get that back in the city. There, it's all about deadlines and getting things done quickly.
Maybe that's why places like this feel so special. They remind us that it's okay to slow down, to just be in the moment without worrying about what comes next.
Yeah, I think we could all use a bit more of that. You know, I think that's one of the best parts about traveling together. We get to see these places, experience them in different ways, and then reflect on it all later. It's like the journey doesn't end when we leave the place. It stays with us, keeps growing.
Exactly. The memories become stories, and the stories become part of who we are. Even when we're back home, we'll carry pieces of these mountains with us. It feels like we're closing a chapter, doesn't it? But I'm excited for what's next. At the bus terminal, we asked about the next bus to Lima. The clerk at the counter told us there was one departing that evening. A long journey that would stretch through the night and into the next day. It wasn't the most comfortable option, but it was affordable and would get us where we needed to go. We bought our tickets, feeling a sense of relief knowing we had a plan, even if it meant facing a challenging 20-hour ride. So, this is it. A 20-hour bus ride to Lima. I guess we're in for a long one.
Haha, yeah, but at least it's not another hike. And besides, the buses here are supposed to be pretty comfortable. I'm looking forward to just sitting back and watching the scenery roll by. Who knows what kind of views we'll get along the way.
I'm looking forward to that too. It'll be a different kind of journey. I'm ready for something a little more relaxing, even if it is a long ride.
Just think of it as part of the adventure. The journey to Lima is just as much a part of this trip as everything we've done so far. And we've never been ones to take the easy route, have we?
That's true. If we wanted easy, we'd probably be lounging on a beach somewhere. But this is more us.
Look at them. I love how connected people seem here. It's like community is woven into everything they do.
Yeah, there's a sense of closeness that's hard to find in bigger cities. Everyone seems to know each other, or at least they act like they do. It's refreshing.
That's one of the things I love most about traveling. You get to see how people live in different parts of the world, how they connect with each other. It makes you realize there's more than one way to live, you know?
Definitely. It's like every place we visit adds another layer to our understanding of the world. You can't really understand what life is like in these places until you see it for yourself. And once you do, it changes you. Every place we've been has left its mark on us in some way.
Well, I guess we're about to add Lima to that list. Not bad, right? These seats look pretty comfortable.
Yeah, this isn't bad at all. I think we'll survive the 20 hours. And we've got snacks, so we're good.
Snacks are always the most important part. I'm ready to just sit back and enjoy the ride. Let's see what Peru looks like from the comfort of a bus. As night fell, the scenery outside our window transformed. The vibrant greens of the Andean valleys faded into shadows, and the mountains loomed dark and imposing against the sky. Above, a vast blanket of stars stretched endlessly, reminding us of the wide world beyond our small, rattling bus. Occasionally, the glow of a distant village broke through the darkness, small pockets of life in an otherwise silent landscape.
Inside, the lights were dimmed, and the passengers settled into a calm hush. I leaned my head against the window, searching for a comfortable position to catch some sleep. The road was rough, each bump pulling me from the edge of rest, but I tried to make the best of it. Beside me, my husband sat with his eyes closed, though his uneven breathing revealed he was awake too. We shared a quiet, tired smile, a wordless acknowledgement that this was all part of the adventure.
Around midnight, the bus paused at a small roadside stop. Passengers got out to stretch, and some wandered to a tiny kiosk for snacks and drinks. The air was cool, and I shivered as I stepped outside, glad for the break, but fully aware of the long road still ahead. We grabbed a few snacks, some water, and returned to our seats, settling in once more with a fresh sense of determination.
As the bus rolled into Nazca, the first light of dawn illuminated the desert landscape, casting a soft glow over the vast, open stretches of sand and sparse vegetation. In the distance, faint mountain outlines added to the surreal beauty of the scene. We had arrived later than planned, around 7 a.m. instead of 5:20 a.m., but the delay felt insignificant now that we were so close to our destination. It's incredible. I've seen pictures of the Nasca Lines before, but standing here, seeing them with my own eyes, it's something else entirely.
I know. From up here, they almost look too perfect to be real. It's hard to believe that people created these and that they've lasted for so many centuries. It feels like looking at a message left behind by a forgotten civilization.
It's like they're trying to tell us something, but we'll never fully understand. There's so much mystery here. I wonder what it was like for the people who made them, what they were thinking, what they were hoping to communicate.
Yeah. Some say they were for religious purposes. Others think they were an offering to the gods, or even some kind of astronomical calendar. Whatever it was, you can feel the significance of it, can't you? Like we're standing on sacred ground.
Exactly. It feels like a place that holds secrets, ancient ones that are buried deep in the earth. I wish we could know more, but maybe part of the magic is in not knowing. Maybe that's what makes it feel so timeless.
Look at how precise they are. It's amazing to think that these lines were created without modern tools. The people who made them must have had such a deep understanding of geometry, of the land itself.
Yeah, and the scale of it all is mind-blowing. To think they created these massive figures, ones you can't even appreciate fully unless you're looking at them from above. It's like they knew they were making something that would outlast them, something meant to be seen from the heavens. Do you ever wonder what they would think if they knew we were standing here, all these centuries later, marveling at their work?
I think they'd be proud. They built something that has stood the test of time. I bet they hoped future generations would see it, even if they couldn't have imagined how we'd be able to fly over it and capture pictures.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that we're part of their story now, part of the legacy they left behind. We're just one chapter in a much longer history. All right, so picture this. You're flying over this stretch of desert in Peru, and suddenly, below you, massive ancient designs start popping out of the sand. Birds, animals, people, and a bunch of lines and shapes stretching across miles of barren land. These are the famous Nasca Lines, made by the Nazca civilization over 2,000 years ago. They were drawn so large that you can only fully see them from above, almost like they were designed for someone in the sky to admire. But who exactly? Some of these geoglyphs are over 1,000 feet long. You'll spot a hummingbird with outstretched wings, a monkey with a curly tail, and a spider looking like it's mid-crawl. Each figure is made simply by scraping away the top layer of reddish stones to reveal lighter soil beneath, so they're not actually drawn, but carved into the earth, with the dry desert climate keeping them preserved for centuries. And here's where it gets super mysterious. Nobody really knows why they were made or who exactly they were meant for. There are tons of theories. One popular one is that they had a religious purpose, maybe some kind of offering or communication with the gods. Imagine the Nazca, people looking up at the stars and wanting to talk to their deities. What better way than to create huge images that can only be fully appreciated from above? Another theory suggests the lines acted as some kind of ancient calendar. Maybe the Nazca used the lines to track the stars or seasons, which was super important in a desert where rain was a big deal for survival. Or maybe the lines were part of rituals. People could have walked along them in a ceremonial procession to honor the gods or ask for water. There's a theory, too, that they might have been part of a rain dance. a hopeful call for water in one of the driest places on Earth. And then there's the alien theory. Yep, some people think the Nasca Lines were made as signals for extraterrestrials. This idea has led to some wild speculation that ancient people were trying to communicate with beings from outer space. While most scholars don't buy into this, the alien angle has kept the mystery alive and added to the Nasca Lines appeal for everyone from archaeologists to conspiracy theorists. Today, the Nasca Lines are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a bucket list spot for anyone visiting Peru. People fly over them every day, marveling at the size, detail, and precision of these ancient artworks. It's like looking at a message from the past that we still can't quite read. Were they a message to the gods, an astronomical map, or just a way for the Nazca people to leave their mark on history? Whatever they are, the Nasca Lines are a beautiful mystery, waiting for someone to unlock their secrets. Pretty surreal, huh? By the time the bus finally arrived at the Lima terminal, it was well into the morning and the city was fully alive. Cars honked in the busy traffic, street vendors called out, and the hum of city life filled the air. After hours on the road, the noise felt overwhelming but strangely refreshing, a stark reminder that we were back in the buzz of civilization after the quiet solitude of our journey.
We stepped off the bus, our bodies sore and stiff from the long ride. Exhaustion weighed on us like a heavy blanket, but beneath it was a deep sense of relief. We had made it to Lima after hours of dust, discomfort, and restless moments, and we were just a step away from the comforts we'd been craving. The city's warmth washed over us as we stood outside the terminal, and I closed my eyes briefly, letting the sun soak into my skin.
As soon as we could, we hailed an Uber, grateful for the chance to sit in a clean, air-conditioned car with smooth seats. The drive through Lima was a blur of colors and sounds. We passed bustling markets, towering buildings, and crowded sidewalks. There was a rhythm to the city, a vibrant pulse that felt alive. I looked out the window, taking it all in, even as my mind drifted toward the thought of rest. We made it. I can't believe we're finally in Lima. After hours of watching the landscape change, it's almost surreal to be here.
Yeah, it feels like a whole new world compared to where we've been. The air's different. The energy is different. Everything is more alive, faster.
Definitely a change of pace from the mountains and the quiet desert. It feels big, like there's a lot waiting for us here.
That's the thing about big cities, isn't it? You never know what's around the next corner. I'm ready to dive in.
Lima feels different from the other parts of Peru we've seen, doesn't it? It's so much more urban. You can really feel the mix of old and new here.
Yeah, it's like the city is a bridge between Peru's past and its future. I mean, you've got all these modern buildings, and then you turn a corner, and there's a centuries-old church or a colonial square. It's like the city's wearing all its layers at once.
That's one of the things I love about cities like this. They're alive with history, but also always evolving. I can already feel the pulse of it, even from here. Wow, I wasn't expecting this. Lima is a city by the sea, but standing here, it feels like something out of a postcard. Look at that view.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. I knew Lima was coastal, but seeing the ocean right there, stretching out endlessly, it's something else. I think we're going to enjoy staying here for a few days.
This feels so different from the rest of our trip. From the Andes to the desert, and now this. Lima has its own charm, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like we've stepped into a completely different country, even though we're still in Peru. I love how every place we've been so far has shown us a different side of the country. Hey there! If you loved this video, wait until you see what we've got coming next. Trust me, it's packed with even more adventures and hidden gems from our travels. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got so much more coming up, and believe me, you don't want to miss any of it.
Exactly. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on notifications. That way, you'll be the first to join us on our next journey.
And if you're curious about what's coming up, check out this video right here. We've lined up some surprises you won't want to miss.
Which part of our journey intrigued you the most? The farewell to Machu Picchu, the Nasca Lines, or our arrival in Lima?